Alien X is trash. Deal with it. What's going on, guys? It's Lewis, or the Gaming Rift here, and today I'm revisiting a tier list idea that I did from over a year ago now. That is my ranking of the aliens in Ben 10 Alien Force. Now keep in mind, guys, this is just my own personal opinion. If you disagree with my opinion, that's fine. You're wrong. But with that being said, though, guys, more than 80% of you aren't currently subscribed to the channel, so feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now let's get into the tier list. We have 5 tiers, guys. We have awful, poor, alright, great, and my favourites. Generally speaking, I think that the Alien Force aliens are a lot weaker than the original show, but I still do like quite a few of them, which you'll see in this video. Starting things off, guys, with Jet Ray, and for me, he's going into the great tier. I've always loved Jet Ray. I think he's got a very unique design. With him being the sort of accelerator of this series, I think it was very unique that he actually had a lot more abilities than just running up to you at super speed and punching you in the face. He could actually really kick ass when he wants to, you know, being able to beat up Alan and a lot of other characters. Seriously, this dude's pretty cool, and why the hell did he not appear in Omniverse again? Brainstorm is an alien that I think is just alright. I think that his design is pretty cool, and with him being the grey matter of the series, once again, he has actual powers that can fight back with his, you know, electrokinesis. I also really like his voice and the fact that he speaks in kind of like a Shakespearean kind of way. But for me, I just don't think he makes it into the great tier. I don't think he was used enough, and I don't think in terms of being an electricity alien, he's anything special. Chromastone easily goes into the my favorites tier. It's kind of like the Diamond Head of this show. He immediately gets props in my books, but seriously, I love this guy's design so much. His voice is really cool, his powers are amazing. You know, the fact that he's extremely physically strong and powerful is he's capable of matching the Tekadon robot as well as Vilgax, but he's also pretty much immune to most energy attacks within the show. And it wasn't until Ultimate Alien and like later on in Alien Force when we actually saw things that could actually kick this guy's ass. Seriously, Chromastone is just a badass transformation and will always be one of my favorites. Echo is, in my opinion, how you do a cloning transformation right, and in my opinion, he makes it into the great tier. Now, I really do like this guy in the fact that, you know, he can clone himself, and, you know, with his sonic-based attacks, he's actually very cool. So he combines Blitzwolfer with Ditto in a very unique way. He's also deceptively powerful, as he's capable of messing up electronics with his Screech, as well as, you know, messing up quite a lot of characters within the show. It's also very satisfying when, you know, Albedo uses him against Ben. Not to mention in Ultimate Alien, this guy also has utility, as Ben can essentially clone himself with the Echo transformation. His design's a bit boring, but his voice and powers are amazing and deserves the great tier in my opinion. My first hot take probably within the video, and this is a choice that I'm sure everyone's going to disagree with, as I'm sure a lot of people have Humongosaur in great or my favorites, but for me he's like poor or like alright. I'd probably put him in alright actually, just because of his growing to 60 feet ability, which is actually pretty amazing. But in terms of being like the physical powerhouse of the show, I've just always viewed him as being terrible. He loses far too often for me to care about him. Like, he lost to the Hybrid, he lost to like you know, he lost to Vilgax even in his 60-foot form, he's lost to Volcanus, not Volcanus, sorry, he's lost to Devoid. Tons of characters can beat Humongosaur's ass, and for me that makes him terrible. Not to mention his design's pretty boring. It's just kind of like he literally looks like a chicken nugget kind of dinosaur. It's just not really my thing at all, and for me he's just sort of average. Lodestar is probably the alien with the biggest missed potential. When you consider that this guy has the same powers as Magneto from Marvel Comics, he's really underutilized. Like the fact that, you know, all he really does is just disarm people of their weapons and tries to manipulate metal is kind of underwhelming. Not to mention his head, whilst he has a unique design, his head is actually a weakness, as, you know, his head can become separated from his body and then he essentially becomes useless. So the transformation has a lot of missed potential, and whilst the design and voice are pretty cool, I just can't put him any higher. He's a very poor transformation and deserved more love in my opinion. Either my favourite or my second favourite alien in all of Ben 10 is Swampfire, and for obvious reasons. This guy literally combines the best of all aliens and is just a powerhouse to be reckoned with. In terms of strength, I would argue he's superior to, you know, Humongosaur, as he was able to match Humongosaur when Albedo transformed into him. He's also capable of fighting pretty much anyone he goes up against. Like, he's broken 6-6's armor, he's gone against Hybrid commanders, gone against Vilgax. This guy is just an absolute unit. He also combines fire and plant-based powers with also the stink effect that Stinkfly has. And really, this guy is just badass. His design's amazing. He has a Wolverine-like healing factor. Swampfire just has it all, in my opinion. However, I would say that he got weaker in the series, but during the events of Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, he is easily one of my favorites. The last alien to go in my favorites is Big Chill, and I would put him above Chromastone. For me, Big Chill I always preferred Big Chill to Ghost Freak, and despite the fact that they were conceptually similar, not only does he have the typical ghost powers of intangibility, but he also has cryokinesis, and his design is amazing. I love the fact that when he speaks, his mouth doesn't move, and there's that one iconic scene where he literally smiles when Volcanus grabs him. Not to mention he can freeze pretty much anyone instantaneously, as he did with Volcanus and Vilgax, which is very cool, no pun intended. He's my favorite ice alien throughout the show, and the fact that they gave him like a character arc within Alien Force made it all the better, as Big Chill basically took over Ben, had the asexual children, and just made it really, really cool. Very enjoyable for me, and he was one of the transformations that got the most love. As well as quite a lot of on-screen appearances, not to mention the fact that he has his cloaked form and he unfolds the wings and he's more of a butterfly. I think it's really cool in the fact that he has essentially two separate designs, the wings curled up and then the wings extended. I think he's really, really amazing and one of my favorite aliens in all of Ben 10. Possibly another controversial opinion, but I would put Goop into the great tier and I would put him behind Jet Ray. I think that everything about this guy is genuinely fantastic. His voice is kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. His design, he's literally a liquid-based transformation with a gravity kind of technology item keeping his shape together. And we see that without this item, it's kind of a strength and a weakness, as it can, control his entire body, but it can also be taken away and used as a weakness or a limitation, which I think is quite a nice balancing act. Not to mention he can also expand himself, turn his body acidic, restrain incredibly strong opponents, especially seen later on in Omniverse. Seriously, Goop is fantastic, although I do think he didn't have enough appearances, and he did have a bit of missed potential, but this dude could even go against Vilgax and essentially troll Vilgax, as Goop was basically indestructible, which I think was one of his more unique and funny on-screen appearances. And for me, Goop will always be in the great tier. However, he's not rivaling these other four, let's be honest. Spider Monkey, I don't really have much to say about, and I'm kind of deciding whether to put him in alright or poor. I'd probably put him in alright, but I'd put him in the back half of the category, just because he is kind of like the Wild Mutt, or, he's more similar to Spider-Man, if I'm honest. He has incredible strength, he has the webs and stuff, but for me, I've just not really liked this transformation, and I don't really know why. His design is cool, and his powers are cool, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with, but he's just not my kind of alien at all, and I much prefer his ultimate form, where he's literally a gorilla with spider legs. I think that was much more better in my opinion, and in his base form, he's just kind of alright. The first alien to go in awful is Nanomech. I just don't really like this guy, and the fact that he didn't even debut in Alien Force, but rather Alien Swarm, I think is a big problem, as the film is kind of all over the place. However, Nanomech himself just didn't have much screen time in the film. He essentially just appeared and then saved the day. He could have had way more development put into him, but even later on in Ultimate Alien, when he got more screen time, his voice is kind of annoying, his design isn't all that interesting, and in terms of powers, he has energy blasts, but that's kind of it. He's just not very original, not my kind of thing, and for me, he's in the awful tier. Let's be honest, Raph is a fantastic alien. However, despite the fan appeal behind this guy, I'm gonna put him in great tier behind Jet Ray. The reason for this is because he didn't have a lot of on-screen appearances in Alien Force, and I think that he became a lot more entertaining in Ultimate Alien, and that would be the definitive version of Raph. Despite this, however, he is incredibly funny. You cannot tell me this is not the most entertaining of Ben's aliens, and he's also very, very strong. We see in Ultimate Alien, he's capable of tearing apart a tank in his bare hands. He's capable of literally bullying anyone he goes up against, and he is determined to tell them how he feels in the third person. This alien is fantastic. However, due to his only one on-screen appearance in Alien Force, I think that he would become a lot better later on in the series. As Ben puts it himself, my most powerful transformation, but it's not worth the price. Alien X, in my opinion, is an awful transformation. The reason for this is because, yes, let's get the obvious out of the way, he's by far the most powerful alien out of any of these guys, and he would easily whoop all of their asses at the same time. And he also has pretty cool powers in, having, reality warping, time manipulation, and we see in Omniverse and, that kind of era, that this guy has basically every superpower. The problem with him, however, is that in Alien Force he had one appearance, and that appearance cemented this guy as being more of a hindrance than anything else. He's very overrated, and the fact that Ben himself literally said that any of the 9 remaining aliens that he started with in Alien Force would be better than Alien X really speaks volumes. For me, in Alien Force, Alien X is truly awful. In Ultimate Alien, he didn't even get that much love either. He didn't really do that much, and in my opinion, it wouldn't be until Omniverse where he would jump out of awful and just into the, one of these 3 tiers for me. Not to mention, in terms of power scaling, this guy is one of the most overrated aliens in all of fiction, I swear down. And it really does make this alien even worse for me, the fact that people are like, oh, this guy can beat anyone. It's like, no, he can't. Like, his design's pretty good, his voice is pretty good as well, and he's very unique amongst the aliens, but in terms of what he did in Alien Force, he literally did one thing and then was a hindrance for the rest of the episode. With that being said, however, guys, that was my fairly controversial Alien Force tier list. If you think that I made any mistakes in this video, or if you're an Alien X fan, feel free to let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, 80% of you aren't currently subscribed. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you're a Ben 10 fan, let me know what other tier list ideas you have, and I'll get to work on them down below, because I love Ben 10 and I would love to meet more of you guys and discover your own thoughts and feelings on this beloved show. With that being said though, guys, that's all from me for today. So it's been Lewis, or The Gaming Rift, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day, everyone.